night, the city of Lagos went agog as all routes.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CORETV News.
Welcome to CORETV,
a 24-hour news station.
All right, thank you for joining us again. We're going to EKITI State, and possibly I should just greet you the way it's been said. Yokun EKITI, Kete. EKITI is known for the land of honor. The big question on the show this Saturday is how honorable was what happened in the course of this week in EKITI. Of course, for the second time in 4 days, people suspected to be political thugs on Thursday disrupted proceedings at the EKITI State High Court in Ado-Ekiti on Thursday. Of course, that happened again. Of course, it started on Monday, and another one happened again on Thursday. And a series of attacks, series of unrest in that part of the country that informed the imposition of a curfew that now exists between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. in EKITI State. We're going to intimate you quickly with a report from Rashid in EKITI, and this is going to tell us more and, of course, create some background for our discussion this Saturday. Stay with us, don't go away.
The atmosphere in EKITI State is tense as a result of the recent crisis rocking the state. Youth alleged to be political thugs have invaded courts twice and destroyed court property and obstructed proceedings. A former boss of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omolafe Aderiye, was also killed. He is believed to be a close associate of a top politician in the state. Addressing the state in a broadcast, EKITI State Governor Kayode Fayemi condemned the attack on the judiciary and directed the Attorney General to liaise with the State Chief Judge of the possibility of transferring all cases out of the state.
It is understandable that not a few stakeholders have expressed concern about what the development portends for EKITI State. The brazen contempt of our hallowed law courts and the use of violence and intimidation to obstruct the course of justice is a clear invitation to anarchy and brigandage on the scale and texture that once characterized EKITI State some years ago. EKITI, are those years upon us again?
He further cautioned politicians to control their followers and supporters so as to avoid chaos.
The course of justice can only be delayed, but never truncated. The independence of the judiciary is an inviolable tenet of any democracy. Accordingly, I have this morning directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state to issue a legal advisory to the Chief Judge of the state and all the parties to the existing cases in the State High Court and the EKITI State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal on the desirability of seeking an alternative venue for the hearing of these cases outside EKITI State. The state can no longer afford to witness the bizarre spectacle of the beating up of a judicial officer and wanton intimidation of lawyers and court personnel.
The governor thus imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew on the state.
EKITI, in order to forestall further descent into anarchy in our state, I think all hands must now be on deck. And as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I have suspended my thank you tour, which I'm undertaking as part of my transitioning out formalities in the state. Also, I have taken the decision to institute a dusk-to-dawn curfew in the state immediately. Accordingly, there will be no movement between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., and security agencies have been advised to effect this curfew maximally.
The rise in violence is coming just days before the transfer of power to the next government in the state. It is hoped that a curfew will help curb the violence. Rashid, CORETV News, Ado-Ekiti.
A sitting judge by the name Justice John Adeyeye was said to have been beaten up and his suit turned bad thugs in the process of all of that. I'm joined now live by our correspondent all the way from EKITI. Rashid, good morning to you. Good morning, Rashid. Are you there? Hello, Rashid.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you today?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you intimate us with the situation report in EKITI?
Well. As it is today, we are actually having a very calm environment now. What we are experiencing today is actually the direct opposite of what happened yesterday. As for today now, everybody are out, shops are now open, business activities have picked up. Even actually at the Modora Junction in the Bayo area of Ado Metropolis, we even have students, part-time students of the State University going to school right away, and we have security agents at strategic points and possible flash points in stations around Ado Ekiti. But for now, peace is back into the city. Everything is okay. People are now moving calmly to their place of business while everything is now under control. That is the situation for now, which is against what we experienced yesterday.
Okay, what can you say about the enforcement of the dusk to dawn curfew?
Well, essentially, this morning happens to be environmental, so that was even observed between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And ordinarily, the dusk to dawn curfew has been enforced, and it's actually active. But the veracity of its enforcement will be seen maybe tonight. Yesterday was naturally calm. Everybody took their curfew to themselves yesterday while not coming out at all, even without the government order. So the main enforcement and the veracity of the enforcement will be felt later today to see how people actually comply with the enforcement of curfew. But for now, everything is calm, and security agents are placed in strategic positions to forestall any breakdown of law and order.
Okay, in the midst of the relative calm and peace, what would you say the mood of the EKITI people is like now?
Hello?
How would you describe the mood of the people in EKITI?
Well, what happened, owing to the strongness of the modern exteriorities of the boss, who has large followership in party politics, and even among drivers, people are still discussing that unfortunately happening in hot stones, and people are apprehensive. Though everything is calm now, but they are of the belief that the last minute have been had of the events that is unfolding as far as the state is concerned. So people are of the hope, some are with hope that peace will reign, total peace will reign, and some are still having the inclination that the last minute have been had. But all in all, there is a kind of uneasy calm.
That's all right.
Metropolis and even state in general.
Thank you very much, Rashid. Rashid, to keep us up to date with issues as they evolve. Okay, we just heard from Rashid, who happens to be our correspondent in EKITI, saying that things seem to be finer and relatively better than it was yesterday in EKITI. As a matter of fact, they was a court now between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. today. There was a sanitation exercise that was observed in that part of the country. I'm joined now in our live studios here in Lagos by Olabode Osenie. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ifem. How are you
How's the
doing?
night? I like your beard, your white beard.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to have one.
it comes with the time.
With time.
It's not something you can walk in and purchase or buy.
Yes, I should be patient.
Yeah, you need to take your time. You still have all the time.
It's all right. Many are asking how honorable what happened earlier this week in EKITI, in what is called the land of honor. But in your own opinion, how would you describe, what would you say is responsible for all of this? Because this is the same place where an opposition party won an election. And then we saw the incumbent governor congratulate the winner. What was seemed to be uncommon in the democracy of Nigeria. So why the sudden change in the calm and the peaceful nature that greeted the elections in Ekiti?
Well, let me start by sending condolences to the family of people or the person that got killed, and also for the people who got injured in this nasty, very silly situation the Ekiti state find itself. You ask me, I say, what do I think? The probable causes of all this kind of thing. You see, it is a trying period for Ekiti, and also a trying period for the whole country, Nigeria. Because the bottom line here is there is a breakdown of law and order. A breakdown of law and order, and a trying, a place where law and order is supposed not to even break down. Law and order can be broken down somewhere else, at the garage, at different beer parlor, and then you take that situation, depending on whether it's a civil or criminal, then to a place called the judiciary seat of operation. It is that place that's supposed, a revered place that's now been showcased before the whole world. And it can only be one thing, if I may. And I have said it in most of my presentation, my appearances, that we are operating a kind of governance that has no rule of law as the roots. The rule of law is just not here. You might say to the Harvard University students in Maiduguri, Ahmadu Bello, or OAU, or whatever, you can teach all of them. And in fact, this is the best group of professionals that have been tried here. And you now ask to say who is trying them, or who are trying them. Do you think it's palatable for a British jurist to come here and see judge or judges being treated the way we treat our own judges or our own judiciary personnel? It is very sad.
Let's look at the root causes of this particular incident, because some can trace what transpired at the court premises to supporters of certain people in that particular state. Don't you think it's about time to review, the presence of supporters in court premises in Nigeria?
Well, on one side, Nigeria and the operators in politics will say, oh, we are matured, we operate a presidential system, we do exactly what they do in America, we can show the world that we're as good as UK or other European countries. But this is the result. This is the result showing you and I that we are still yet to show the world that we are capable of ruling ourselves. It is not unusual that different cases, celebrated cases in courts, premises, that supporters go there. Even in a case where somebody has killed about 100 people, the people that suffered will still go there. And we have seen in other civilized countries where when a murderer or a perpetrator of, is being taken away, the vehicle is being pelted with tomato and so on and so forth. I will link it. I'm just trying to give you this analogy. So, why should we now say to ourselves that supporters of ABCD political party should not have the democratic right to go to court if you and I for some reason have been tried? Again, the truth of the matter is we are still not showing maturity. We still allow brigands, people who are not capable to hold political offices, to be elected. And this is what we get. This is not being personal. Because if I have children, if I have supporters, if I have people who are my friends and family, who I cannot control, who I cannot put them to order, who I cannot tell them, say, you know what? if you go to court to support my case, behave yourself. But if I now leave them loose, not only I'm breaking the law, but I'm also making a lot of other people to break the law. But then what that means is it shows how small we can think of there.
Let me read this excerpt to you. It's from the governor-elect of EKITI, Ayefayoshe. He says, if you have been defeated in all the 16 local government areas, and you now want to come through the window, it won't be like ice cream party for the APC. He says, I would not be too cheap like that of Shegwani. I am not going to be cheap at all because I was elected by the people. And when I had to say, I don't care about what they write about me because I have grown a thick skin, the strategy of the APC will not work. Nobody, no matter how highly placed, would remove me cheaply. Can you relate what happened earlier this week to the respect of the people for the judiciary, considering the peculiarities or inequity? Because the present governor won via the Court of Appeal, via the election tribunal. Is it that people in this state, or generally in Nigeria, have lost faith in the judiciary, thinking that possibly the process has been compromised?
It's the same thing I was trying to say to you, Nifemi. Because if we now lose faith in our judiciary, what is left? It's chaos. We might as well go back to jungle. Because this is the most important arm of government. When you have the legislation that legislates on all the laws of our country, you now have the executive that's supposed to execute all these laws. But then you have this biggest arbiter with big stake, who is the umpire. Is the most important part of any polity, because it's the last resort where an ordinary man goes to seek for redress.
What I'm asking is, does EKITI as a state has any reason to doubt the judiciary, given the precedents that brought Fayemi into office?
That's what I'm saying. If whoever among the people who now bring this ugly situation to Nigeria do not have faith in the judiciary, the question is, how will an ordinary person react when his or her case goes to court? Now, if I were one of the advisors of Fayoshe, for example, not being personal, the decision of the sitting judge can still be challenged at 2 or 3 other different levels. Am I making sense? So, if I'm a law-abiding citizen, if I believe in rule of law, there's no way I will have been involved in anything that will bring my name to disrepute. And that's what happened now. This is not being personal or anything. You understand me? Because if I believe that at the end of the day, I'm going to be the same chief executive of this state, I will not lay any this kind of precedence. I will ensure that I follow the path of honor, the rule, the lay down regulations, and the laws. You understand me?
If you're pointing accusing fingers,
I am not.
At okay, maybe
not,
one way or the other, indicting the government.
I'm not, and that's why I say to you, as a public and political analyst, I must give the best. I'm not any political party.
I understand.
Yeah, you understand?
I'm just getting to say that if Fayoshe, for instance, in one way or the other, has been indicted, you know, as being a major stakeholder in all that happened earlier this week, how do we now explain the NURTW boss that was killed, who happened to be a supporter of the governor-elect? Does that not also indict the APC, all of this? Could PDP, could PDP as a party or Fayoshe as a governor-elect should have been responsible for that also?
Exactly. And that shows you clearly that when you start fire, when you start problem, you never know where it's going to end. A good way, Yoruba people will say, when you throw stone, you never know where it's going to land. But let's put it in concept. The situation in EKITI is very ugly. you started by opening with your opening that it is a state of excellence, a state of a highly educated Nigerians.
The land of honor.
And see what we get? Behaving badly. And I'm of the opinion that the people, whoever they are, that are involved, whether direct or remotely involved, should be arrested, prosecuted. You understand me? And their names should be, they should be brought to book, and make sure that things like this never happen again. And this is when questions are being asked. Where are the law agents? Where are the law enforcement agents?
No, considering the fact that also that this thing already, one happened on Monday, and another that happened on Thursday. Let me read an excerpt from the governor's broadcast to you. He says the fact that this assault did not meet with any strong deterrent repercussions from the appropriate authorities further emboldened the miscreants that subsequently attempted to prevent the Ekiti State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal from sitting, because one already took place on Monday. I believe that was the E11 case.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about the credibility of IOC to have participated in that election. And then another happened on a Thursday. What's the role of law enforcement agencies in all of this?
I would have thought a young person of thinking age will have asked the question and said, where were the police when this is happening to us? Daylight. Where were the police? Why are they not intervening? Why are they not there? After all, when the election was held about how many months ago? A couple of months ago, there were a large number of concentration of military personnel, enforcement personnel. Where were they? How dare them? Can they now see that the most law enforcement part of the system we practice are being ridiculed? And we're also talking about the sacrosanct of justice here.
Is it possible that the police...
So, now let me finish this.
Okay.
So, what you are asking me, or what you are saying is, I would have thought, also as a thinking person, if I was also a member or an advisor to Governor Fayemi, who is sitting as a sitting governor, this is not the time. I would have said, you know what, to pursue whether you are going to win or you're going to lose. If you believe, or our party believe, that this person is not fit to contest election in our state, much should have been done. Not now.
But is it possible that the police in Ekiti was overwhelmed? Because we had the police PRO saying that a particular number of policemen were at the court premises, and when the issue started, they had to call for reinforcement. Before the reinforcement got there, you know, the problem already deteriorated.
It makes the case of the police enforcement, the police in Ekiti, even worse. Here, again, you should have known by now. You'll have known by now all your needs. Ekiti police zone, or people in charge of Ekiti, they should know the history of Ekiti. They should know the history of Osun. They should know what is going on in Adamawa.
You're saying they should have been proactive.
Exactly. This is, for me, this is not good enough. And I'm sorry, I'm not being rude to anybody here. I'm just talking we are just discussing common sense. They should have been more proactive, prepared. And that's why I keep saying to people, this now make me to do a little bit of digression. This is so common in this country. Why do we do things like this? Last time when the election was being, the large number of, to make sure election was held without problems. Some criticize, some say it's in order, some say it's not in order. When you now have a volatile state, a state that little thing will ignite, the police should have been more prepared. So, for this to have happened and the situation to have degenerated to this point, it's very silly. It makes the whole business of governance in this country, in other states, you understand me? Mockery. Well, making us look like we are still yet to show other countries, other people that we are capable of ruling ourselves. That's exactly what is going on here. A good example also is when you know the need for Agege area, the residents of Agege needs X amount of energy. There's no justification for going there and providing only about 20 people out of 10,000 people electricity, and you continue switching off the light all the time. Keep talking about this and that when you know that sitting like that, when you know that the opposing parties, APC parties, supporters, and PDP parties or Labour or whatever supporters might clash. You don't take things for granted. I'm not let you know this better than I do.
It's all right. Let's also look at the relevance of prosecuting offenders in this case, because we have a situation whereby a sitting judge by the name Justice John Adeyeye was beaten up and a suit torn by the thugs. The record book of the Chief Judge, Justice Ayodeji Daramola, was also torn into pieces by the thugs and also disrupted proceedings at the State Election Petitions Tribunal. You know, we always talk about prosecuting electoral offenders. What's the relevance? What will be the implication of having these people prosecuted as setting an example? NBA has called this a desecration of the Temple of Justice.
Yeah. Like I said, the sacrosancy of the Temple of Justice been reduced to it has been trashed. It is unacceptable.
But just a minute. We have a caller from Akure. Good morning, Femi.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, good morning.
Morning. Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Yeah, good morning. Like the case that what happened in EKITI is very, very pathetic. What happened in EKITI is very, very pathetic. It's just that people are not sincere. Sentiment, people are putting a lot of sentiment on things. They should face the reality. Instead of for us to be able to know something that is not supposed to be, people are now doing kind of a theoretical hands. We know where this thing is. What really happened about this thing. We know that at least people are sponsoring this thing. They should have even, at least people should have even allowed the peace to reign. It has been for peace for a long time. But when somebody you voted for and you discover that things are not working the way it's supposed to, there is no way people will not be able to do what they're supposed to do, which is very wrong. But we should have allowed peace to reign. Let us allow peace to reign. We are just appealing to people. Because there's nothing we can do without peace. Even with the governor and the government, they should be able to come together because this is time we have to join hands together. Without that, there's no way we can. Even they should leave party apart now. They should face reality. Because we cannot just be watching ourselves to be killed. Who are they going to be governed on? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Femi, for calling. You were talking about prosecuting offenders in this case.
Yes. Of course, in any situation like this or cases like this, perpetrators of crime like this should be arrested, should be prosecuted in order to serve as a deterrent to whoever in future thinking of disrupting operation of justice. So I look forward to hear or to read that ABCD people have been arrested, and this is independent of whoever we are talking of at any level.
It's all right. You know, Femi made a very, very typical statement there when he was talking about possibly people voted for someone, which was obvious in EKITI, in all the 16 local government areas. Ayofayoshe won.
Yeah.
And then possibly they are saying that something is about to change hands via the court of law. Who takes responsibility here? Do you think that if APC had just stood by the congratulatory message of the governor to the governor-elect and then decides not to pursue this in the court of law, we won't be having all these issues at hand now?
Well, do not also forget that we all have our rights. Again, if anybody chooses to pursue or to explore his right, why not? And like I said, it is not finished. It's a process. The sitting of that Judge Adeyemi, or what is his name, in EKITI, should have been allowed. It is not final. It is not final that whatever his conclusion would have been is going to be final. No. There's still
just a minute, Otumba. We have Dr. Oladipo calling from Ado-Ekiti. Good morning, doctor.
He's on. He's on.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution, doctor.
Good morning, my dear. God bless you. Good morning. Okay. My own opinion is that there is a sort of clandestine, cooperation within the ruling party and the leadership of the security. Intelligence-wise, they would have been informed. Particularly 2 weeks ago, the Commissioner of Police and his team were in the court when the case was adjourned till Monday. I see no reason why they should not be there on the adjourned date. This is all the more reason why anybody.
Hello, are you there? I'm afraid we lost that. Please endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set when you're calling us. Let's keep the conversation alive on phone. Of course, he also establishing the fact that security agencies should have been more proactive than this. But then, don't you think that leadership in this case, I'm talking about the incumbent governor and the governor-elect, should take responsibility and show EKITI people true leadership, just like Fayemi showed by congratulating Fayoshe. Many were of the opinion that the governor, the incumbent governor and his party shouldn't have, changed that particular decision.
Well, again, the decision we are talking about, as a legal person, I can't practice here, I'm not a lawyer here, but I can tell you this. The result of that proposed sitting that's supposed to have taken place, we don't know what the result could have been. For all I know, the judge could have come out with a different opinion or judgment.
It's even more sensitive because...
do you understand what I'm saying, Ifen?
The reason why it's even more sensitive, okay? We have a caller from Lagos. Good morning.
Yes.
Olabode.
Yeah. Hello.
Morning. Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Please, the EKITI election, I don't know, the two parties need to give the court, the judiciary, the right to determine the outcome. But using the physical or any other means will not give results, because at the end of the day, the court will still take the real course of action to determine the outcome. And so the losses and all those things that they will have incurred will not bring about solution. The two parties should wait for the outcome of the judiciary panel, the election panel. Then that will give them the victory. Whatever means, any ways they use now, they are giving themselves, the two parties. But they should give the judiciary, and the judiciary also should make sure that they follow the course of the law to bring out the outright solution to Nigerian problem. And this is a problem to all facets of our human endeavor in Nigeria. We want to cover up, we want to use our own knowledge, people excluding the law. Thank you very much. That's my
Good to have you join us, Olabode. Thank you very much. I was saying that it's even more sensitive because just recently, the Chief Justice of the Federation, Aluma Mukhtar, said that the judiciary is corrupt and that certain judicial officers, engage in corrupt practices, which is responsible for the quality of justice that we have today in Nigeria. I mean, that's enough to inform voters otherwise in EKITI.
I'm very happy that we have a Chief Justice of the Federation in the person of
Aluma
Mukhtar that openly admit it's a very serious indictment. But again, he took the courage to admit that all is not well with our judicial system. But then again, how do we balance, how do we correct all these anomalies? These anomalies is like the kind of people we are. Because if you go to other places, they don't carry two heads. They don't use special magic. The only magic they use is because they are able to install a kind of a software. The software we are talking about is a software of rule of law.
Just a minute. Let's take this call from Oshun. Good morning, Olabode.
Hello?
Good morning. Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Hello?
Go ahead, Olabode.
Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead with the contribution.
Okay, my contribution is that the incident at EKITI is very saddening at this point in time. My appeal is for the politicians that they should see themselves as leaders in the country. And people are watching them. For now, everybody in Nigeria are tired of the politicians. Even this democratic dispensation, we are not happy at all. We, the electorate, we are not happy at all. Fighting here, troubling themselves in the court and everywhere. Nigeria depends on them, as everybody depends on God. So, and we are praying to God that God is going to find a lasting solution for the problem of this Nigeria politically. And by the special grace of God, I'm sure that God is going to do this. May the Lord bless you. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Olaboye, calling us from Oshun. When exactly will Nigerians learn? You know, because when political fights like this happen and occur, you notice that the big players are not involved, are not casualties. You know, one happened recently in Lagos, where, of course, an NURTW chairman was also shot, you know, at a political rally or so. It happened again in EKITI. When will Nigerians learn that violence, as regards politics, does not pay?
It's not, in fact, it's not supposed to surface in any polity. Because I was trying to give you an analogy that the good governance we can see to a great extent in other places of the world, they don't conjure magic. There's no magic in what they are doing. All what they are doing is they have installed, they agree collectively to install a non-virus software, and that software is rule of law, where nobody can be above the law. If we have a working rule of law in this country, we will be discussing something else. Most of what we read in our newspapers, most of what we see in our daily life here, can only be issue of corruption. Somebody started something, they did not do it. Somebody is beating somebody up. Somebody go to judicial, and all what do I know? Because there's no rule of law. Some people still believe that they're above the law of this country. Some people believe that when they get billions of naira that are supposed to be used for the maintenance of people, create jobs, provide Medicare, make sure that the elderly, the vulnerable are well looked after. They can siphon the money, they can get away the money, and nothing will happen. This is why. And that is also knowing fully well, if whoever that are involved in this ugly situation in EKITI, if they know that the long arms of the law will catch up with them,
Good morning.
I cannot imagine that Obama will be
Let's take
involved in
this
kind
call.
of-
Good morning, Adewoye. How's Abuja today?
Good morning. I'm fine. I want to make my contribution.
Please go ahead.
Actually, what happened in EKITI is highly unfortunate. And it portrays Nigeria in a negative way before the world. And if nothing is done, it will serve as a bad precedent, and it will continue. For somebody, no matter how highly placed, to enter into the court and slap a judge is highly ridiculous. It's so highly unfortunate. And I think the governor-elect should be arrested with all the other people that slapped the judge. And killing of human beings is also something that is unfortunate too. But at the same time, the matter should be highly investigated. Why those who are involved should be made to face the wrath of the law. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling, Olawoye from Abuja. Well, we're just going to take a few more calls now before we round off with the show this Saturday. But what does this portend for the transition that is ongoing in EKITI? Because the incumbent governor says that he has to stop his thank you tour, around the local government areas in EKITI. This is a time where we expect that both parties are supposed to work hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah.
Because we've established earlier too that the problem of development in Nigeria is inconsistency in programs, in transitions. What implication do you think all of this will have on the transition in EKITI?
The implication again is that the ordinary man on the street will now think, you see, where are we going? When we can get this kind of thing now, and then 2015 election is around the corner, and we are getting this kind of situation. And now more so when an average Nigerian who believes in the rule of law, you understand? I'm not saying all of us are so, we do whatever we like. Of course, majority of us, especially the people that represent us, are doing whatever they're doing exactly what they like. They don't have fear. They're not afraid of anything. They know they can get away with murder. They know that if they do anything, whatever they do, nothing can happen to them. So the implication will be we will continue to show the world that we are yet able to rule ourselves. We are still capable to rule ourselves.
Let's take this last caller from Abuja. Good morning, Ola.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead with a contribution, please.
Okay. Good morning, Nigeria. Are we not
morning,
trying to train another set of Boko Haram in Abuja right now? Because what these people are doing now, let's assume how should that content? What will happen next? Can we control these guys? Are we not trying to train another set of terrorists that cannot be controlled later? So I think the police should know what they are doing. They are these set of people. Because we are creating another set of problems later in the year. I believe that the authorities know what they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. I want to react to that.
That's a nice one because terrorism could come in different forms and shape. To me, and I agree with him. I agree with the last caller that this is another form of terrorism. Because for any group of people that have the audacity to walk into the chambers or walk into the court of law, to start to terrorize a judge. The judge there, whether, you understand me, the judge was not representing, is representing the whole country. So for anybody to have the effrontery to go and challenge, you understand me, it's a serious matter. And I hope that, again, like I said, by this time, tomorrow or whatever, the names, the people will have been arrested. And again, the court should do, the police should do whatever they have to do, because the whole thing now, the ball is in their court.
That's right.
They must act. They must show that we are not as bad as we are saying it. But the point people like me say is keep coming up that we are not capable of ruling ourselves. That's exactly what it is. You understand me?
Thank you very much, Otuba Olabode Osenie, veteran public affairs analyst, has been my guest on the show this Saturday. Thank you very much for
having me
to join us. As we speak now, there is a dusk to dawn curfew in EKITI State, and it exists between 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., about 12 hours thereabout, and we are hopeful that this also will help to bring back order and peace to that part of the country. We spoke earlier with Rashid, who confirmed to us that everything is relatively peaceful as against what the situation was like yesterday. It's a wrap on Cold Digest this Saturday. Big thank you to my producer, Emmanuel Ajayi. Of course, Cold Digest continues tomorrow at 12 o'clock with Frank Omolape. I am Nifebi Ogunto. Stay tuned for the top of the hour news. Don't go away.
Core